it's going to be a journey, but get up and choose yourself. Choose your dreams. Choose your vision. Choose the things that you dream of and want to happen and work towards them. Forget about other people. Where we were staying before, it's prepaid, but here it's not prepaid. So I was so afraid of the bill. I was like,
The
we're going
first
to
month
time.
living here was horrible. I had to ask Sandiso for permission to put on the heater.
Even cooking, Jane, switching on the
Yeah,
stove.
I'm like, let me explain.
It took
There were
about
months that
4 months.
Oh, yeah.
Where we weren't getting UIF and we weren't getting paid, and those the 4 months we're living off the pension. So we hadn't final, and the claim hadn't been finalized. So when the first one came, I was like, catching money in the bank, baby. Go,
Go shorty. It's a birthday. I want to party like it's a birthday. Hey, housemates.
We in the house.
Guys, welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back.
I'm Dumi.
And I'm Sandiso.
And this is the Ngwenyas house.
Ngwenyas house. Yes, guys, welcome to another episode of Living with the Ngwenyas. This is episode 3 or 4?
3.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Congratulations on 3 episodes.
Congratulations to living.
To more conversations. This is where we wrap up what we've actually started with, talking about our relationship from where we met, or we started dating. We moved out of Hatfield, went to Kempton Park, started working, and went through some learning, still learning, by the way. Went through a lot of learning.
You don't stop learning. That's one thing adulting can guarantee you. Guaranteed a stamp, you will not stop learning. It's constant.
Yeah, it's constant. It's constant, and you just keep on adapting, evolving, growing. And now today we just want to wrap that up and just chat really about when we got into the spaces where we later realized where we were meant to be, and how we got out of the rut we were in, and how it affected our relationship. Really, we're talking about how proud of you I was for holding on, but when we talk about these things, it sort of takes away from actually how long it was that the holding on was.
How really hard it was. It's not like I was just like, oh yes, holding on.
Yes, struggling and
like
smiling.
I was very difficult at that time, because honestly, I'm holding on here, and it's the most toxic thing that I'm doing because obviously this place hasn't changed. The reason why I'm holding on is because now I'm looking at career goals. But even every time I'd call my mom, anyone, my friends, anyone around me.
That's all the convo was.
The whole convo was about my struggle, how I'm struggling. It just became about that. Like, I remember at church cell when they cell is another thing we're going to talk about that we joined when we were starting to adapt. At church cell when they were like, this week, guys, can we talk about positive things? Because every opportunity I got to vent and talk about it was that, and that meant in the house. Like, I was not even attentive to if he was going through the most or anything, because the whole situation had poisoned every aspect of my thinking, my everything. There's this note I always go to where I said, God, my work situation has literally poisoned everything around me, my relationships, my health, my fitness, my outlook on life and everything. And I'd like from today going forward to actually work on that, because now, I know, like, even when your mom called me the other day, she was like, because I was like, oh, work is so hectic, everything. And she was like, yeah, no, like the way you don't talk about your workplace
work
now.
anymore.
I don't even know the names of your bosses and everything because that's the only thing I talked about. And I didn't realize for 2.5 years of my life, I defined myself based on like my struggle. And I had to work out of that. But the biggest thing is that I had neglected relationship, and the biggest one was our relationship, and we were together all the time. Now
Yeah.
imagine people that were far
That
from me,
that don't know you.
don't even know me, but they're far.
Oh yeah, but that don't see you
Yeah, don't
as
see me.
often. Yeah. And then you got a new job, and actually before you get to that, I actually
Yeah.
want to just talk about
The
the no, I want to talk about when we moved from Kempton Park to where we stay.
Yeah.
Because you were still at that place, right?
Yeah, I was
You were still
still
at that
there.
place.
Yeah.
But the reason I want to talk about that, guys, it's so scary. It's so scary, like moving, like a huge move, especially when we're living in Kempton Park. It was way cheaper than where we stay
Yeah,
right
it
now.
was like half,
It was
almost
exactly.
over half.
Yeah, almost over half. And obviously we're at a point where we weren't really cautious with money or anything. I'm not going to say that. But like everything was based on we cannot afford to do anything. That's how it felt.
Yeah,
But
like you remember we even when we started looking,
yeah,
we didn't have money for deposit.
nothing.
Remember what happened? Do you remember? So we started looking, right? We started looking because Kempton Park, we had gotten broken in twice.
Yep. There was a prank and then there was a real break.
There was a prank, and a week, I think 4 weeks after the prank, we were actually broken into, and they stole everything. And then after that, they attempted to break in again.
And luckily I was awake at that
And
time.
already like the vibes there were like, it's not what we want.
That environment, like where we stayed, it wasn't motivating. Like
Yeah.
it was more depressing than anything else. It did make us realize we need to move here because the vibe around was just like
It pushed into the
yeah,
narrative
that,
of us thinking when we are successful, it's going to be a T1
yeah, and like just living in a flat
in a flat and everything
that's
like
that
that.
on
So
that.
we wanted to move out of that, but the biggest thing for me was
The
the
safety.
break-in and the safety and everything. So now we start looking. Start looking for a place, everything. Then we find this place in
next to
it was
Bedford
somewhere in
View.
Germiston next to, but very close to Bedford View. Beautiful 2 bedroom, and they're like, you can even rent to own.
Yeah, when
Everything,
we're
everything,
ready.
everything, right? We
We're
are so
ready.
excited.
We're ready.
We are hyped. And the deposit was 7,500, which is not a lot of money, right? But we didn't have 7,500 at the time, and they only gave us like a week, whatever. Then we lost the place. I fell into a deep depression because that's like the time I ended up going to a mental hospital. Obviously, it was everything, and then
Yeah.
that just came and was like,
It was a knockout punch.
it was a knockout punch when I was already like going through the most and everything like that. So yeah, came out, everything was fine. Then we continued looking for a place.
But it was actually devastating.
It was so
I
devastating.
don't want
It
to
was
brush over
devastating.
the not getting that place. It was very
It was so
devastating because
devastating.
I had negotiated for a while. For about 2 weeks, I had negotiated with the estate agent, and I had negotiated if like we move can we actually purchase the place, and because like, the owner was moving.
Yeah, to oversee,
Was moving overseas. So
yeah.
it had taken time to negotiate that thing. And then we didn't have deposit. It felt like it was painful because it was like after all that work
Yeah.
and we had fallen in love with the
The
place
thing
so
is,
much.
we were so in love with
Yeah.
it and everything.
We
But
had even- we had
what
even-
was even our plan for the deposit? How were we gonna deposit?
No, what we're planning to do was
Is
when we
move
move out of
out
there,
or
we're
and get-
going to give us our deposit, and then we'll move it to the other place. But then this was an urgent sale. So we couldn't wait. I mean, not an urgent sale. The guy was urgently wanting to get somebody inside because he needed to pay his bond. The bond wasn't over yet, so he needed to thing. So we couldn't do that. And we had I even still have this folder on my phone, the Kennedy interior deco ideas.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, like
with
we had ideas and everything on how we were gonna decorate. And the more exciting part was like now we are gonna own this place
exactly.
and
So
everything and
we
everything. So
can
it was
like literally
no, it
put
was
things in the wall.
devastating. Like it was so devastating and it just caused me to like break
The
down.
biggest thing that I learned after that is because obviously when Tumi came out of the mental hospital, we kept on looking for places to stay. This is how we ended up living where we stay now. It wasn't even part of the options. I just used to put it just because it's a place that was close to there and the rental was more or less the same. And we got this place and it's
No, we got this place, still needed deposit,
yep.
and my mom was like, "This one's gonna go to hospital again," and she gave us
And she helped us with the
she helped us with
deposit.
the deposit. We did pay her back once we got our deposit from the other
Other
place,
place.
but it's just emphasis on the fact that like we didn't
We
have
didn't have.
extra money for like the deposit for
We
the
didn't have
next
extra
place. We
money for
didn't have,
anything.
yeah.
And so we weren't even looking for to move here because we already planned our life. And in hindsight now, it's just another testimony or example of, you know, yes, you have expectations, yes, have desires, dreams, and goals, but sometimes the thing that you want so bad isn't the best thing for you.
That's true.
Because when we found this place, it became the most convenient thing ever. There's literally a Gautrain bus route here. There was a time when I was working, my car wasn't working. Where we live now, it's far from like taxi routes that could have gotten me to Kempton Park to the airport to work. So the Gautrain was the easiest thing to do. At the place that we wanted, number one, it's far from taxi routes also. Number two, Agna Gautrain bus.
And the
Like
traffic that
the
side is so horrible.
bruh.
But at the time, we were so focused on it. It was like, why are we being punished?
Yeah, like
Because now we're not getting this place. And this thing of hastily be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna own property now into this
yeah.
place. That conversation gets people so excited. Like
Like,
right
oh, it's
now,
an
oh yeah, it's
investment.
an
And
investment, an
it's
investment.
really not.
Property is not always an investment, and you know what? We'll talk about it when we are talking about when we are talking
Talking
about
about
finance.
finances
We are
and
not like
yeah.
financial advisors or anything like that, but knowing that property is not always an
Always
investment.
an
If at
investment.
that point we couldn't even fork out 7,500 of
For deposit.
for deposit, owning a property requires you to always have money in case things happen.
Exactly.
One, and then two, it is an expense.
Number-
It is a liability if you are living in it.
Yes, number
So,
three, you need to pay insurance for that. So it's not only just the bond. You need to pay the insurance.
So it'd be-
you need to pay the rates and taxes, and obviously still electricity and water as well. But
So you need to actually afford it.
And
It was about an affordability thing, but yeah, at that time we thought, oh, we are surely being punished.
Yes.
Everything is going wrong. We've been broken
life
into.
is
Our
over.
life is over. Why we not getting this place? Why we not getting
and
this
everything
place?
and everything has like everything was falling
Ibeza,
into
bare
place.
ibesiza.
Ibesiza.
And then ibering and then you touch sharp curve. Ibesiza, then you sharp it up, sharp curve, and I couldn't. Yeah, no, my brain broke. I broke.
I'm the one that like really like took a sharp curve into talking about the house because it was just something I thought about whilst we're talking. But that's a nice thing about like being in a podcast is that like
You can talk.
you can
You
just
can
keep talking.
talk.
But yeah, that was like just a point in moving forward because after we moved here, things actually it was like when we then moved to this place. It felt like
Things
everything was just like
falling into
smooth.
place. Yeah,
Yes.
things started falling into
Flowing like
place.
a river.
We've never had issues with paying for rent. we've because
We were scared.
it
We were very
practically
scared.
doubled our rent. I traveled less, but you started traveling longer. It was a shift in
It was a
lifestyle,
huge shift.
but it's God placed us here for a reason. Because a few months later,
Then you got.
I got
Then you got-
my new job.
Also, remember how afraid I was of, because where we were staying before, it's it's prepaid, but here it's not prepaid. So I was so afraid of the bill. I was like,
The
we're going
first
to
month
time.
living here was horrible. I had to ask Sandiso for permission to put on the heater because, guys, I'm always cold. I am always cold. Like, the thing is, when you are so scared, because we made this decision to move. I think I felt the same when I bought my car. It was just like I was so scared to even go for the
Grand I-10.
the Grand I-10
When it
because I was
literally
just
like 500
it
rand
was
a
500 more or something per month, but I was just anticipating everything, and that's what comes with adulting and making big decisions.
Yeah.
People don't talk about the how scary it is making a change, making a big decision. And moving here, we knew that okay, we are doubling our rent. It was not even an increment, Nyana, it was a double.
And also, we didn't know. Not that we didn't know. We weren't cognizant of the fact that moving here, we're not only doubling rent, we're adding money to groceries. We are adding money to petrol. We are actually piling up the expenses. But the key point of the decision making was, this are the places we want to be in because this is where we see ourselves
in.
and we were going to take that risk to move there.
Yeah.
And it was actually a leap of faith.
It was a leap of faith, but the best decision we could make for ourselves, like to try and get out of that mindset of like our life is not going to move forward. We are just, this is the end, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to say we just made a decision that was a leap of faith without being able to at least afford rent and electricity. So we knew for sure rent we were going to afford. Then electricity, we still affording 500.
Yeah.
So now the first month, they're like, here, the rent is not prepaid. You get your statement after. Yo, guys.
And you pay 2 months in advance. So the first month we were actually paying for the month before. So we're paying for the people's electricity that were here a month before that. And I was even cooking, Jay, switching on the stove.
I'm like, let me explain from the one who experienced this house. Then sharp, it's the first month we moved into a nice place, everything, and then using electricity. Now I'm someone that switches on the lights in every room. That was a problem.
For no reason.
Then we had to take shifts with the geyser. Oh my God, I hated that. I hated it so much. I would just be like, I'll bath with cold water. Because this waking up at 4 to switch on the geyser, I'm not doing it. And then he didn't want me to switch on the heater, and I'm always cold. And
we didn't have a gas heater at that time.
Yeah, we didn't have a gas heater, which is it's more expensive. In the last 4 weeks, we spent over 1,400 for gas.
Yeah,
and it's only for the heater.
Yeah, but still.
Anyway, guys, I'm just saying gas is still as expensive as electricity. So now,
but it warms the house up more than the other thing that switches on for 2 minutes and switches off. Anyway. In fact, guys, in the comment section right now, if you are watching us on YouTube, just let us know, what do you guys do? Do you do the timing of the geyser? Do you use a heater or a gas heater? Which works for you? Just let us know in the comment section. Is this thing that we are having with Tumi something that happens in your household too?
Yeah, this must come into finances and how we think financially between the two of us. But anyway, so there was the geyser issue, which annoyed me because I value my sleep. And there was that, and then the cooking. Obviously, we'd cook fast food. We'd cook food that's faster. Then our bill comes and it's like 200.
No, it wasn't 200.
It wasn't. It was less because we were paying for the other people's thing.
When there was a month where there was no one here, remember?
Was it the month where there was no one here?
Remember,
yeah, so it was that.
Yeah.
So now we are like, another month of going through this thing because we still don't know what our spend is gonna
It's going
be.
to be.
And only when it came, it was so much less than 500 because he was putting us under lockdown. Then I was like, no, this is enough. We are gonna use electricity normally. When the bill comes, it comes. We're gonna pay for it. I'm not gonna live like a prisoner in my house. We switched on our geyser is always on. If you come to this house, the
There's
geyser is
always
always
hot
on.
water.
There's always hot water. I'm not switching off the geyser and switching it on. And the logic behind that doesn't make sense because for the geyser to start up and warm up the water, it takes more electricity than for the geyser to just stay warm
We don't
the
even
whole
have
time.
to go that deep
Yeah.
into it. Like
So
it's
it
just
was just
paranoia.
like it was
just
paranoia and everything, and our electricity has pretty much stayed the same. We didn't know, we were just scared of the unknown with regards to the electricity thing. We got used to this place.
And
Nothing happened. We didn't have to go into debt. Nothing. We just continued as we were.
Everything just kept on moving. And then on top of that, it got better because Dumi got the type of job we had been praying for, the type of job we had been searching for, and it was at a time where you had done a few interviews, and all those interviews, number one, were bad.
They were ghosting me. They ghosted me. They
They were
didn't come
asking for
back.
more
I was just
payslip.
getting rejection after rejection. And when this job came on that day, I was in so much disbelief because she just sent me an email, said, "Here's your contract." No back and forth, nothing, and I got a new job. And I remember Ifilo saying, like, when we were still making the decision about moving because I was unsure, and she said sometimes moving is the thing that you need for
Yeah.
things to start
start
changing.
changing.
And it really set us in the motion of things changing.
And
That's
getting back into a place where, number one, we also knew ourselves again, like getting back to a place where we could dream again.
Yeah.
It played, where the environment where you call home or where you stay, it plays a very big role. If it's a place where you're not at peace, it's going to affect a lot of other places in your life, especially also if you're in a workplace, or you're where you work, or whatever things you're doing, whatever hustle you're doing, things are not going okay. And then when you go back into your place where you stay is not a place where you find peace, it's going to filter into the other parts of your life. It's going to be actually difficult to stay positive. So coming here it was whew.
It was like really a refresher. It was really, the best thing ever. Then we move, right? This is towards end of 2019.
Yeah.
And talks start being now
Da, da,
about
da,
SA.
da.
Yeah, because that was even before lockdown or like COVID, anything.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Adulting.
Travel in the thing. Because now we're like, great, I got a job. He has his job still. Everything.
And also at that time, before like we get into the talk, also at that time, things are also going well for me because at work there was a new CEO now.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I was close with that CEO. Who were like, there was a thing that there was this new program that was being started as well to kind of improve the airline. So I found now I'm literally getting into the space where, like, yes, remember that was my dream now. Good, say I'm going to one day run that airline. So now I'm already getting ins with the right people, starting to move. People started knowing me in the right places, they call it sixth floor. So people started knowing me in sixth floor,
Which was nice.
so things were, it was a good time.
It was a good time.
A good time to me, got a new job.
know.
It was just
Things were looking up. Things were looking up finally after 3 years of wow.
Yeah.
And things were looking up. Besiza. Then Tatu Shop Kev again. SAA started being in the news for the fact that they didn't have money, they thing. But at that time, we're still like, ah, man, it's just the news, it's
Because
propaganda.
ever since I started
It's,
working there, I mean,
yeah,
everyone knows like how things are with SOEs and stuff.
yeah.
So it's not something that was like really felt like a big deal until the changes started happening
Yeah.
at work. Then, because then there was
It was the first thing was the crashing one was when the CEO left.
so the CEO left, right? Bruh.
Cut to short curve.
Yo, sharp as curve that one. Left now, even that thing that new program that was being started, that was gone. Now they're talking about retrenchments now. Flights start getting cancelled, so there's less work to do now. Hey, hey guys,
That's 2019,
that's
right?
2019. They
Towards the end of 2019.
was
This
a-
is before any talks of COVID.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting to that.
No,
I'm
okay,
getting to
go, go.
COVID. Flights start getting cancelled for us only, like for
SAA.
SAA only. Flights start getting cancelled, routes start getting cancelled. Yay, there's a lot going on. People start striking, whatever. It's a lot. There's a lot of turmoil that's going on. At that point in time, I'm just like, I hadn't processed anything. I hadn't processed anything. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. It's not like and then at that time, it's not like there's a plan or something that okay, if like shit hits the fan here, it's okay, baby. We're going to go and take out money from this investment, and it'll be okay. There's none of that because we hadn't done any of that. We hadn't done any of that. But at that point in time, it's all fine. Hey, then boom, there's been a case of COVID-19 in China. Even before it gets to South Africa, we work at the airport, right? So there's airlines which are coming in from China on a daily basis. So at the airport, we see these things. We talk about
So him at the airport like saw this thing as a reality before even all of us
before
saw it as a reality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like next thing, people like at the airport, it was actually pretty weird because all the flights from China, even before COVID came, disclaimer, people would wear masks. So we'd find it weird that like these people are wearing masks all the time. But then as soon as the whole Wuhan story started happening, there were more masks inside the airport. Even before it was a widespread thing, there were now people were starting to wear masks. And Sene was still like, it's fine. This thing is just in China. But we're all saying, why are the flights from China still coming here? Why is this still happening? Then they go and take planes from SAA to China to go and fetch people. And we're all now panicking because remember also for us, we've now started working less, and now there's a COVID thing. Flights are starting to get cancelled. Then flights start getting cancelled now. Like they start cancelling flights from to from like overseas and stuff. Now COVID is a big deal. Now it's a real thing.
This is
Some idiot from
March.
Italy came with the thing, and now the airport starts getting locked down. We get told you're not coming to work. Like we're not flying. You're not coming to work. This was even before.
Oh, that's how it started. I remember.
That's how it
'Cause
started,
it
even
was
before the
like,
21 days.
Yeah, flights are cancelled. You're not going to work anymore. That was a weird time because now I'm scared. I'm like, we're finally at a good place where we are used to like certain things, certain luxuries, or certain like a certain way where we are comfortable. And then now we don't know what's happening. We're still hopeful, but they're like, flights are not thing anymore, so you don't need to come to work.
And they were still at least getting paid. Weren't getting paid obviously like for we're just
For the
getting paid
extra
our
time,
we're
yeah.
just getting paid our basic and stuff. And then go figure 21 days of lockdown. Remember, for us, before COVID, we're already in talks of border retrenchment. We're already in talks of and there's a big winding down. In fact, it was even talks of the airline is getting shut down. So we don't know what's going to happen. The only thing we're thinking of, okay, we have a pension that maybe will help us or whatever. 21 days of lockdown comes. Busho. Hey, everything is still fine. They're like, it's okay. After the 21 days, it looks like everything is going to be fine. 21 days turns into an extension. My fellow South African, extension.
Extension after extension after extension.
And then they tell
Not
us,
being called back to work as still, yeah.
like, and then they tell us, Gutsi, we're not going back to work at all. And they're not going to pay us anymore. We're going to get paid from
UIF. Yeah,
that
you were getting
UIF COVID,
UIF, yeah.
not even UIF at
Oh,
that
it was
time.
the UIF COVID.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
UIF
yeah.
COVID thing, right? And then they confirm, good say, okay, guys, there's retrenchment. At that time, everything was still okay because there were packages that were going to come, so everything was still okay at that time. And also, I hadn't really processed what was happening in my mind. I'm like, okay, because the way I deal with things, I just try to like move. I like
Like, okay, what's the next thing?
yeah, what's the
Okay,
next
what's the
thing?
next
What do we
thing?
do now? What do we need? Because I try to keep myself from panicking, because if I start panicking, I get paralyzed and I can't function. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, whatever's next. I'm like, okay, there's packages. So then I'm like, naturally, what am I going to do? I'm just going to slide back into the things that I was doing before
Business,
SAA.
yeah.
That's what I thought in my mind. So I'm like, okay, I'll slide back into business, and then
Music,
and
yeah.
then went back into music. Pushed even more with the Ngwenyas house. But then when all of this is happening and what they're talking about, the packages and whatever, we don't know that these packages are going to take almost a year, if not longer. We don't know.
You think, oh, they're coming tomorrow, sir. We'll be fine. Like, we will not feel this because, like, it's just gonna be it's gonna be 2 weeks, but it's not gonna be long. I'm sure if it's long, it's gonna be a month.
Nah. They always help us anyway. We don't know that this thing is gonna take over a year. Then we sign everything. Yeah, that's over. Um, I didn't actually even feel the pain of that until because I just went full groove back into the record label and things like that, and that kept me busy at that time. Same story as it was before. No money is coming in from this, but somehow it's taking money. And that but I'm not even thinking about those things. I'm not even consciously thinking about those things. I'm just keeping myself busy. I'm just now recalibrating my dreams again, because I had to recalibrate from, okay, I'm going to run SA, because at that point it's like this thing is gone. It's not going to be there anymore. Recalibrate my dreams again. Now I have to think, okay, what do I want to be? What does Sandiso want to be again? So then I focus on the record label. We push, we push, we push. That time I'm actually slowly going into depression. I don't even see that. I'm actually slowly going into depression because I'm not allowing myself to feel, I'm not allowing myself to accept, and I'm not allowing myself to deal. In my mind, I just keep the flashes every day of like, yeah, but things are not okay. But in my mind, I'm now unrealistically putting expectations on this record label. I'm unrealistically putting expectations on the people I'm working with, the artists I'm working with as well. Like, and I'm pushing myself hard, way harder than I should be, because all of the things I'm pushing for, I can't even control. That crashed as well.
Because lockdown, entertainment, dololo.
Sure.
And that time, this is the turmoil that's happening in the home as well. Because right now, your income has quartered, actually.
Yeah,
You are
quartered.
getting a quota from UIF. There's a lot going on here. For us, for me, it was still scary because a lot of businesses were retrenching, and I had just started. Like, I was 5 months into working
Into
at
the
the
new
new
place.
5 months, 6 months into working to the new place when lockdown hit and we were working from home and everything like that. So it was so scary not knowing what's gonna be, especially like when the extensions kept on coming and coming, and we were like, okay, this is real, like a real pandemic. This thing is happening, and you're like, are we still gonna keep our clients? Because you've seen clients like cancel, and you're like, am I
Budgets
still
are
gonna
being
have
cut.
a job? I don't have a job. I have a job at that time, but I'm not sure if I'm still gonna have it. And because it was an uncertain time in the house, I think a lot of things actually we didn't you don't anticipate that when you're like, oh, I'm gonna be an adult now. You don't anticipate
The big changes.
the big changes. You don't anticipate a global pandemic. And our parents have experienced there have been like things before that stressed our parents, and there was like major inflation and everything, but we never actually
We never felt
we
it.
never
We didn't know
felt
what it
it
was.
until COVID really was our reality as we were adults. We were adults and it was our first reality, and we had to deal with our relationship where we were now coming out of like a dark place where we were like figuring ourselves out, figuring all of these things out, to now boom, back to the biggest one yet: retrenchment, uncertainty at work, changing habits, changing like your day-to-days, where someone like me depends on routine. I had to like,
Because all routines actually flew out
they
of the
flew
window.
out of the window. They
Because
like,
the main thing of Monday to Friday is work, and good, so you
yeah,
wake up
and at this
certain
time you wake
you're
up
doing
at
this,
saying you are there, you are doing
you're
this.
doing that. That's out the window.
That flew out of the window. We didn't see friends in forever. So if you are like me and you are anti, so like it just became so much, and you are going through now the decline, because we are trying our best to just, when you are like hit the ground running, okay,
Because
boom, I just fell.
that's how it's
Then
always.
we're like, oh, record label, the Ngwenyas house, do me in, because I started my
you started
channel
your
now
channel,
again
during
in
that
lockdown.
time.
So we added all these things, but the thing that a lot of us as adults, or from when we are kids, from when we get into like adulting, whatever, we actually forget to deal. We want to be reactive. I
Yeah.
think our biggest thing is like we are more, we want
We
to be
want,
reactive.
yeah, we just want to move.
We want to just
We
keep
want to
moving.
we
Yeah.
want to keep it moving. It's like we don't like. That's I think that's my biggest flaw, because I always react to things later on, way later on. It's like I push it. It's like in my mind I can avoid is the wrong word, but it's like in my mind I can circumvent whatever's happening. I can push through it or go above it so that we can skip that thing, and like let's I'm like it's that's how my mind's like. That's what happens in my mind. It's like we can figure out what's next quickly so we don't feel that hit. But you have to feel the hit, because
Come to terms with it.
Yeah.
Come to terms with the fact that this thing didn't only happen to me, and just deal with your emotions. And I remember even like not knowing what to do for you, and I would say, okay, maybe try therapy. You tried it once and you're like, it doesn't work, it's not working for me. But it's yeah, no, it was
Like,
something that we never expected. It's something that was actually a hard hit for
it
us,
was a
and
hard
it's just
hit.
like,
For me, the thing that I appreciated the most was having you, because when this started, we weren't actually able to have the conversation fully until we also both knew what was going on, because there was uncertainty, there was a lot of back and forth. But when then the final nail came and we had to sign the things, and we had the conversation about what's going on, you supported me so much. And I appreciate that, because if it wasn't for you saying, like, okay, you know what, um, we'll figure out what to do with our budgets. We'll figure out what to do with the monies that are coming in now. At least you literally said, at least there's still money that's coming in, so then we can cut down where we cut down, but at least there's something coming in, so you don't have to shoulder. And also, it's like God always makes things happen at the right time, because you had just gotten the new job, which increased the household income by a lot. So had that not happened, it would have probably been a totally different story. So I don't want to say supported me only, because the decisions that you made kept this marriage in
and
existence.
and
Actually,
the household and everything. Because I'm different because I know the fact. I know that you would have done the same for me if it was the case. But a lot of people like always act like, oh, Mina, I'm not gonna stay with a broke guy. What? And I'm just like, it's a situation that happened to everyone. So do you leave everyone when like life is hitting? Because it's not gonna always be rosy and everything. And it could have happened to me, and I would have also liked for you to stay and support, because it's not easy being like, okay, so now everything's just gonna go towards a household, and there's not gonna be like a
and
lot
you're
of
working,
extra,
and
and you are working
you're,
every day,
you
and you're
are
just
working.
like, it's just going towards bills, bills,
bills,
bills,
bills,
bills,
bills.
bills, bills, bills. It's no one wants that, but like I feel like I'm in a partnership where it's not even something that I want to think twice about. What am I thinking twice about, and why? Bare ntho nkame mfazi ke pocket money. So now guys, it's not the case here, but I would have expected. So you don't like, I would have actually expected you to do the same for me,
I
and I
would do
believe
the
you'd have
same.
done the same for me at the time. It was something that we both didn't expect, but I think because of our reactive nature, we were able to deal with it well. And the biggest change of lockdown, I think we had to learn each other again. I remember when lockdown started, and Sandiso was so excited around me in the morning. And I was just like, did he forget I'm not a morning person? Because the people that had to deal with me in the morning were at the office. And I didn't talk to people until 12. Like, bruh, what are we doing? Why are we excited? I'm actually better now because
Very
I
better.
spent so much time with you during lockdown that I had to be a morning person. Nyana, like type of vibe. And we just had to learn being together all the time again, and we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. Yeah.
No, enjoyed it,
I
because
know.
remember,
Even now, I'm like, when I'm at the office, I'm like, what am I doing here? I want to be my husband. What are you saying?
it was so nice because we actually got to distract ourselves a lot when lockdown started, because we have the channel as well. So we wanted to create we wanted to create a lot of different content. We wanted to try out cooking things. I mean, everybody became a chef when lockdown started,
No.
but like we wanted to
And
try out different things, and we had the channel to distract us. But that actually also helped us get to know each other again. Because yeah, no, we really didn't.
it had to just be the two of us. There were no like chilling with friends, doing what. It was just the two of us. And luckily, we like each other.
Yeah, actually.
Like, no one talks about like the importance of liking the person you are with.
Yeah.
And we like each other. We
We
like
like
each
a
other's
lot. We like each
company.
other a
We are
lot.
just like, we enjoyed being together. We still enjoy being together all the time. Like, that's my favorite thing to do, just being with my husband. And that's one thing that was positive about lockdown, us being together all the time. But really figuring this most difficult, scary, anxious filled time together, and to show that I was also like, even if I didn't mentally crumble, my body was crumbling because I get ovarian cysts. And I think the most difficult thing for me during lockdown was going to do the operation.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go in with anyone. I was alone the whole time. Guys, like, actually, it's mad. I'm just
Wait, so
like,
you've actually
it's
been
mad what
two
you.
operations during lockdown.
No, I did 2 operations during lockdown. It was for removal of cysts and everything. Like, it's like if I stress a lot, I can actually feel it like grow. Like,
So towards the end of 2020 was where I then started feeling the depression. That's when I started actually dealing with everything. And that's why I started accepting everything. It was like a huge wave that like just came and was just like, that's when things started settling, when we're actually going on that trip. when we came back from that trip, that's when I actually started to go through like the realization of the magnitude actually of the situation. Because in my mind, remember, I had already put a lot of things into place for um, for 2021 to be a huge year for the label because we had already gotten partnerships and things like that with people to put us in the right place based on that specific artist, right? So when when that when that fell away because of the the artist's own issues, when that fell away, that's when I realized the magnitude of the situation because at that moment I realized I'm literally at the bottom again. Like I have to start from scratch because even with the other artists which I'm still working with now, we were very aware of
Oh, oh my God, I remember that December I was riddled with anxiety on you guys' behalf. It was horrible. It was so horrible that right, there were curfews. So you were able to like get some bookings, but all of them
the
I remember
traveling
it
was
was the traveling
yeah.
and everything, and every booking we'd get there and then they're like, yeah, you're not gonna perform anyway, and it started giving me so much anxiety. So, and the anxiety for me on my side came from like how I saw you like just take L's the whole time.
Yeah.
You are taking so many L's and
Yeah.
I don't even know how to make it better. It was so horrible. I
It
remember it
was
was
yeah.
so horrible. It was
It was
actually
difficult and we knew with those artists that we have to start from scratch again and rebuild. So it was that realization and then like you're saying, it was L after
after
L
L
after
after
L
L. Yo.
after L. It was just it was horrible. Lapo also with the packages which are meant to come because that's what we had
Oh, they're
based
not
our
coming.
life
Oh,
on, that kept on being another delay and another delay. UIF eventually nayo phew, it's gone.
Ya fela. UIF. When I share payslip ya how ne? We share payslip every month without a fail. Yeah, it's UIF. Yeah, hi fela ka mora 6 months ya fela
Yeah,
ngwanaka, they tell you it's finished, the funds are finished,
the
and
line is
that
the
time
account. The line is the account has been paid in full. It was paid in full on this date. We hope you find the above in order.
yeah, like, and that's that on that. Like, I fancy, like, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you can do. Fancy, UIF,
Pension
and you know,
also.
I didn't know about UIF. Yeah, you didn't have a lot of
I
passion, guys.
didn't.
We've been
I had
working
only
for
been
two
working for
years. Think
two
about it,
years.
like,
Like,
really.
yeah, pension also as ver.
Like, there's nothing. What? Nothing. Are we poor? Niggas one, help me, I'm poor. You know what, guys? It's not a funny joke. It's an inside joke from a movie, and we watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like we are being insensitive, but we are making an example for a movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, anywho,
But yeah, that was tough.
it was so hard, and
That was
I
tough.
just wanted to make a note about UIF because, like, we are chatting, right? I thought UIF, you get your full salary still, until you are back on your feet. Can't you know there's a time limit and you get a quarter of what your usual salary is?
So you have an account with UIF.
Yes.
By they would say in total, this is how much
Much
the
you've
account
paid
has.
in, yes.
And this is how much the account has in order to pay you for the amount of time. And then they calculate to make that last for a specific time frame. Then once the account is paid up, it's paid up. Because the reason we also thought it was going to be a lot is because the first payment we got was a lot because they were back paying, remember?
Oh,
They were
yeah.
back paying because it took
There were
about
months
4 months
Oh, yeah.
where we weren't getting UIF and we weren't getting paid. And those the 4 months we're living off the pension. So we hadn't final and the claim hadn't been finalized. So when the first one came, I was like, catching money in the bank, baby. Go,
Yeah,
go,
no,
go,
go
shorty.
shorty. It's a birthday. I want to
I
party
like
like
it.
it's a birthday.
When that first payment
We're so
came.
stupid. Yeah, yo, no, guys, please don't look. Now for me, after going through everything I've gone through, I try to preserve every childishness I have in my life.
very important to
because
do
that's where my joy comes from.
Very important to not lose your being a child, because when you grow up, like when you become
Yo,
an adult,
bruh.
yo,
When you become an adult, it's real. There's this meme where they say that thing is not a meme, it's like a message type of thing where it says like make time for fun, make time to be young, make time
Yeah.
to celebrate, because problems make themselves, hard times make themselves, those things don't ask for permission, they just happen.
and that's
So make time to actually celebrate, have fun, enjoy life, because problems, they make themselves, guys. Yo, they really do.
adulting doesn't want peace.
And
it
you
wants
know what?
problems.
And on that note, before anything else, I want to speak about the biggest regrets we had post 2020, about how we lived before lockdown. We lived like we still have so much time to do those things. So we postponed everything. Say, for instance, Sandiso had major discounts on flights anyway,
Even
but we didn't, even accommodation and
everything.
everything. We never traveled because we'd always be like, no, we don't have enough money in
Yeah, it costs
anything.
what.
But you'd find takeaway. We always had.
Any time of the week.
Any time of the week, but we always said no to experiences because of fear, obviously. But we always said no of experience because we'd be like, oh no, we can't afford that. Whereas us post lockdown, we'd say yes to traveling, even if we travel there because the flights were discounted, and then we get there, we just experience the food and come back. If we can't sleep there.
I had the biggest shock in my life when we were planning that Neisner trip, because flying to Cape Town was 250 rand return on business class.
And then we had to pay full price.
To fly on a low-cost airline, we spent it was almost 5K, it was 4.8, and that was also with e-bucks discounts to Neisner. Like that.
And when he was at SAA, we had this opportunity, the discounts. We could have traveled so much. We
could have actually seen the world, but you know, at that time, like we're saying, our thought process was totally different. And I also just want to touch on that thing of thinking you have time. That's something that I'm actually actively fighting to do right now, especially when it comes to Bama saving and all of those things. Because every time, the thing is, you always think, it's okay, we can do this next year, we can start this next month. It's actually not next year. We can start this next month.
You can start it on Monday.
Okay,
you can,
maybe, you know, and that's what we did with traveling, and
with
we'd always, because I'd
actually
plan everything, and then I'd pussy out at the final minute. I'd like be scared at the final minute, like nah. So there are a lot of trips I've planned I didn't even show you. If you'd asked traveling, we would spend so much time on the SA discount thing. I even went a step further. I was probably the only one in the office that had the access to my ID travel. That that was the thing where you can get the discounts on other Star Alliance airlines and other airlines and stuff. I would because you can pre-book the tickets without paying, and you just pay when you show up at the thing, because most of the tickets are standby. So I would even book things to go Thailand, book things to book even accommodation, go as far as emailing people and asking for the discounted things. And we could have traveled.
We could have done so much. Right? And my 26-year-old self right now, the best advice I could give to anyone is do not hold it off for another time. Do it then. You're gonna be broke for the next 2 weeks. Money always comes back somehow. Bro, that's what we've learned. Money comes back somehow. I
wish we had that
Oh yes. Oh yes. Because it does. And have balance, but my God. like, guys, Nguni doesn't, my tongue, I think in my head, I say everything perfectly. And then I try to say, I can't even say ungasnglish. But basically,
But when you're singing the
uskaitima.
song, you can say it.
No, I sing it wrong. Unganxish, unganxish. Have you ever heard me sing it out loud?
Boom, 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 boom.
Anyway, uskaitima.
No, but that's so true.
Because you're gonna die and leave it to people, or you're just gonna. I don't. You know what? The worst thing you could do as an adult, most of the time, our day jobs will never give us the happiness that we think they will.
That's a big fact.
Like, most of the time, even the people that are, there are people who are fulfilled in their job, but most of us want to believe we are. So if you could use that job as like your weekends and your experiences as the motivation to go to that job, it's actually much more pleasant. You remember when we were in Nice Nine, that guy said we should appreciate the jobs we have because they afford us
to do
these experiences.
So
please, at the end of the month, if you can't afford trips yet, ice cream, just buy yourself ice cream.
Yes, that's actually a big lesson we've learned over the years. Was because at the end of the day, it's also another lesson. Like, you actually touched on two huge things. The first one is ungatnishi, and the second one is don't wait for the big thing. Like you're saying, don't wait to like do a trip or whatever, but like it's actually a huge it's actually a huge lesson for bigger than just rewarding yourself. And like even with saving or whatever, or even wanting to start on an idea or wanting to do something. Number one, ungatnishi, don't niche yourself of trying things, of trying things as an experiences, trying things as an ideas that you have, or business ideas or whatever it is. Don't niche yourself. And number two, don't wait for the big thing or the perfect moment.
Don't wait.
Just start and do.
For the longest time, there was this thing, the thing of not going out till I'm a size whatever. I haven't done that for the longest time, because when I got to a certain stage in my life, I realized, like, as women, we are always striving for a certain body size, a certain body thing, and everything like that. And even now, when I'm the most uncomfortable with my body, I still post. I don't want to delay it for when I eventually lose weight. Because if I don't lose weight, I would have wasted 2 years of just disappearing. Because your comeback is not even going to be that big, because people will forget about you.
Yeah, nobody's that
like nobody's not waiting for you to lose weight, to do what. And I don't measure yourself experiences just because you are like, oh yeah, until I'm this is the only time I'm worthy. You are worthy now of the things that you want to do. So do it now. Don't say I'm gonna do it when I'm a size mamang, when I finally fit this. If you wanna dress up now and work towards that body, and then you'll dress up still then. Don't wait till your body's at this or you're at this financially, whatever. And even the financial one, where every time they always say you won't start saving just because now you have double your salary, because you're going to end up spending it, that double money, you're going to spend it the same way you spend whatever.
And we can attest to that
because it's a muscle you need to build. You need to know that of my full salary, this has to go towards savings. And you build that muscle even if you have 5,000. Because a lot of times the reason why a lot of people can't save is because they spend over what they can afford.
And over what
and that's what we should like.
And what you should be spending.
What you should be spending.
Can I just say something? I want to move away from the chat of affordability, right? Because the thought that comes with affordability is that I should. Because affordability doesn't mean go ahead and do it. Affordability just means you can do it. But something that, like, I remember that Bible verse I was reading to that time, that not everything is necessary, not everything is beneficial. So now I want to move away from saying living within what you can afford, but it should be living within what you should be doing.
Which
Be-
what you should have,
yes,
what you need within your needs
yes,
and everything.
with
So a lot
exactly.
of times, a lot of people can't afford a lot of things because, say for instance, you earn 5,000, right? With that 5,000, you can live in a place that you pay 1,000 rand rent. Like living is the most expensive expense,
Yeah,
right? Especially
rent
in
is
Joburg,
the
unless
most, yeah.
you were born here and your parents live here, which you can live at your parents' house. Then it's food, then travel. Then after that, you could save and still have some entertainment. For me, I find it important that at least some of your money is towards
Do
you
something
saying that
that means something
I
to
worked
you.
a full month, so
Reward
like
yourself.
I need this reward, but also say save. But what a lot of people say, I have 5,000, my thing is 1,000, my what my rent is 1,000, my food is 1,000, my travel is 1,000, so there's 2,000 left. I need, let me take Truworths, Woolworths, Jet, legit, what, and then they take, all of them take, then next thing you are living at, I can't afford to save. But if at the start, as soon as you sign that contract, this is the best of it. As soon as you sign it, just do automatic payments that go out towards savings and treat it as an expense, like how you
Yeah,
treat the debit orders that are from your liabilities, like
yeah.
the account
I
as
think,
thing.
like, you know what, guys? Let's just do the financial chat next episode, because also from us, we're not talking here. We're not talking from a standpoint of number one, we know it all. Number two, a financial advisor or anything, and number three, we're also still learning. These, when we talk about this, it's also things talking to
It's learning
ourselves,
and
and
it's
it's like also talking to
to
ourselves,
us,
because
ourselves.
we also actually need to put these things in practice as well, because you
'Cause
know it's very easy to be in a place where you're just talking and saying do one two three four, and
it's
I'm saying this
knowing.
because I've done this to a lot of people. I've done it to myself as well, saying, oh, why didn't you do one two, why did you do one two, when you're in the place, when now there's the money there that you need to do with that with, that's the important place where you need to make that decision and do it. But we need to learn that as well,
Yeah.
to
And also sometimes you need to know that these things are just, they are guidelines, right?
yes,
And they're
life
really guidelines,
happens.
and do what works for you. And if you don't believe in saving, it's fine. Because at the end of the day, anything can happen. You could have savings, then lockdown happens, COVID happens, your partner loses their job, and you don't have any.
Everything goes to
It
shit.
happens. Everything goes to shit, and your whole salary goes towards expenses. But that was cause of something that happened. But if you could just make that decision to make those, because at the end of the day, you can say you don't believe in saving and everything like that, but there's always things that are emergencies that come up about randomly and everything like that.
The other thing that I wanted to touch on also, this is something that we also like picked up in the process of not nurturing ourselves, is that, guys, you know, when you sit back and think about it, money always comes back. Money, oh, if you actually sit down and think about the things when you needed money for something, God has actually always made for us. Well, for us, we believe in God. We are Christians, so we have faith, and that's what we like put it towards. Like, there's always money for something. So when it comes time for you to reward yourself within your means and within a reasonable thing, also, you know, get away. For us, that's one of our biggest regrets. We used to think about, okay, now we're going to spend this money here, and we're going to spend this money on doing this. But we never thought about that when we were spending money in small portions, or when we're spending
And
money
it,
on other
it like
things. And
it piles up and it ends up being
it
the
being
same amount
actually more,
or more.
it ends up being more. And what you don't realize is, when you're busy thinking about all the time, like, guys, just spend the money on something that you need, and spend the money to reward yourself within your means. Money will always come back. You will not actually struggle for money once you stop thinking about money with thinking about it in the standpoint of putting a lot of importance
Oh,
onto
as
it.
money, stop thinking about money as a scarcity. It's available,
Yes,
it's
it's
there,
there.
it can be made, it can be made in huge quantities. And I think that's a
And it's not
first
that
thing
deep.
that actually limits us as people. We think money is not there, but it's there, and it's there to be made. If people are able to be billionaires, that means there's money,
You can
and it's there, and it
you
can
can
be
get
made. If
that money
someone
as
can
well.
come from nothing and they become millionaires, that means there was money that's available in the world to be made. So money can be made. Just think in that sense of like money is can be made.
It's there.
Don't think of, oh yeah, I didn't grow up in a certain family, so
Money
the
is there.
money's there. And when you buy, I'm not supporting my buying things, but like it's possible to recuperate money. And I think for me
Money
having
always
that
comes
knowledge,
back.
yeah, money always comes back if you work for money. Like honestly, babe, let's just, before we end this episode on that note, manage expectations and say money comes back if you're working for it. Because for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
when I make an impulsive decision, I'll tell you now. Like, say for instance, last week, remember there was a package that came from Yellow Sub Trading. Last week, I knew, I was like, okay, the reason I'm broke is because it was your birthday month last month, but I had money like I could have. And I was like, okay, there's 1 week left of the work week where I go to the work for 3 days. And I knew I'm gonna get e-bucks. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy these things.
And you'll use the
And I will
e-bike.
use e-bucks for petrol because I knew the money's coming. And sometimes I'll check there's essence that's gonna come. I know there's a source of money that's coming back. So don't just spend money and be like, oh, manna from heaven is gonna happen. But money comes back eventually. Just, don't
Yeah,
man. Like I don't know.
guys. This
Like honestly.
I just want to say, and before we close the episode, because I actually have to close it now, is that that's so true. You have to be working. Like it's like the thing where you'll be like, hey, God will make a way, God will make a way, bro. Yes, God will make a way, but you need to be in a space where you're going to be able to see that way. You need to be in a space where you're going to be able to get into you get what I'm saying? You be
Yeah.
you need to position yourself.
And the first thing is
You
to
need to
start
position
not
yourself.
thinking of money
So,
as a scarcity.
thank you.
Start thinking
And then
of
work.
And then work. In varsity, for me, I
Work.
knew I liked things. I
Work
liked
for
clothes,
it.
I liked things and everything like that. And I got promotion
worked.
jobs so I can buy myself useless things
Yeah.
that are not needs because my parents could only provide for my needs. It's that thing. Money is available and money
It's
is not a
there.
scarcity. And as long as you are willing to work for it, you can live whatever life you want to live.
That's a big
As
fact.
long as you are willing to work
And
for
that's
it.
a big fact. And guys, just to clarify, working doesn't mean go see you have to have
Slaving.
a job or slaving or whatever. It just means panda. Try something, do something, get out of the state of. It's easier said than done. It's very easy.
Get out of the state of like you
just
need
get out
to
of the
be employed under
yes.
man to
Let
make
me finish. Get out of the
Sorry.
state of thinking that it's hard or whatever, because that is what will hinder you. It's definitely going to be hard. It's definitely going to be challenging.
Challenging.
It's challenging and hard. It's hard for everyone. Even people who have connections, it's still hard. There's difficulties you face. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be a journey. But get up and choose yourself. Choose your dreams. Choose your vision. Choose the things that you dream of and want to happen and work towards them. Forget about other people. Forget to say, oh, mang una in it doesn't
Forget
matter.
about being cringe.
Forget about anything, and when I focus on you, choose you, and go and fetch your life, the life you dream of. You deserve it and you can achieve it. Danko, that is it for living for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. If the subscribe button is gray right now, bro, please help us grow so we can continue having these conversations. We can grow into having a studio space, etc., etc., etc. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please please follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever else you're hearing us. Please, guys, follow us or join, whatever it's called in that place. It's free. It's absolutely free. And we'll see you in 2 weeks with another conversation on
See
Living
ya.
with the Ngwenyas.